the highly sensitive people are canaries in the coal mine. They are able to sense subtle stimuli, very heightened, and they can tell you when something energetically is not going as planned positively before anything can escalate. Every highly sensitive person is individual. Home office is the best amazing experience for highly sensitive people because they can concentrate and focus fully on the task. Sensitivity is an advantage to be harnessed like a raw diamond needs to be cut.
Hello, welcome to Healing Millions podcast. I'm so excited. Today I have an honor and privilege to have an amazing person, Carolina Fahlbusch from Germany, to be on my podcast. She teaches people how to become sensitive leaders, how to overcome their own pains and shadows so they can be a leader that we need right now. Carolina, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited you're here.
Thank you, Nina. The privilege is mine and the honor as well.
Carolina, you wrote your MBA thesis about leadership and sensitive employees. Can you tell us more about that and why is it so important for companies to understand sensitive people, especially at the workplace?
Thank you, Nina. So the thesis was about the effects of leadership on highly sensitive employees and their well-being, right? So the importance of highly sensitive people is basically the same importance that diversity has everywhere. We need everybody exactly where they are right now. So the importance of highly sensitive people at the workplace is that they are natural born leaders, kind of. They lead by example just by being themselves, because these people exhibit behaviors that are very pro-social. And in that way, they just lead by example.
Thank you so much. So many highly sensitive people see sensitivity as a weakness. What do you believe? Is it a hidden strength or weakness?
So here we need to first be aware that all of us are always on a continuum. Duality or polarity is just one of those kind of illusions or illusory things that go on here on Earth to help us to teach us and to help us grow, and evolve more. So the first thing that we need to know is that there are 3 sensitivity types overall: low sensitivity, general sensitivity, and then highly sensitive people, right? So the highly sensitive people have also 3 subgroups on a continuum, which are the vulnerable, general, and vantage sensitivity. Yes? So characterized by vulnerable sensitivity is characterized by heightened experience of negative stimuli. General, they experience both negative and positive stimuli equally heightened. And the vantage sensitivity people, they experience positive stimuli very, very heightened, right? So what does it mean? That means that in my experience, you are able to move from vulnerable sensitivity all the way through general sensitivity until you get to vantage sensitivity. That has been my experience. There is not research done yet on that, but that is my experience. And there is also a body of studies that lead us in that way already. They give us breadcrumbs, yeah. And it is that it's been proven that people who are highly sensitive and have had interventions, like psychologists or other types of therapy, coaching, etc., these people have better results. Yes, and they get to resilience, which leads us back to vulnerable sensitivity being more of an issue regarding building resilience than anything else. And what is resilience about? Resilience is usually about bouncing back to this level of well-being that you had before a very adverse experience, let's say. Yeah. But there is also body of research proving that you can even move beyond resilience and not only bounce back to where you were before, but exceed it and transcend it, which is basically what we are doing here on Earth right now, all of us.
Thank you so much for this beautiful explanation. So, in your experience and in your work with highly sensitive people, what would you say? Is it like weakness or strength for companies?
Well, it is an asset for companies, and it leads or can lead to enhance added value at the end of the day through a lot of different things. For example, if we know that highly sensitive people lead by example just by being themselves. So pro-social behaviors are being enhanced just by these people being there. Yes. The other thing is the canary in the coal mine. Yes, the highly sensitive people are canaries in the coal mine, basically. They are able to sense subtle stimuli, very heightened, and they can tell you when something energetically is not going as planned positively, well in the working environment before anything can escalate. So it is more about finding out that you have highly sensitive people there, enhancing their experience on the workplace, which can be done through different things. For example, highly sensitive people tend to like workplaces where they are able to, be a little bit in peace and quiet and calm sometimes. Yeah. So nowadays, there are a lot of offices that are very expensive, very big, and a lot of people working together. So in which case, I would say noise canceling headphones and calming, soothing music / some nice frequencies would be amazing for the experience of highly sensitive people. Also, the lighting that has to be different for highly sensitive people, sometimes. But as I already tried to tell you, is that every highly sensitive person is individual, right? The experience is individual. So basically it goes back to asking this person, what is it that you require to thrive on the workplace? And, try to do that. But at the end of the day, home office is like the best amazing experience for highly sensitive people because they can do whatever they want on their workplace and just concentrate and focus fully on the task ahead, right? So yeah, it is an asset, but it needs to be harnessed. It needs to be understood. And as I told you, the vulnerable sensitivity can be perceived as a weakness, but this goes back to building up resilience. And this is something that everyone can get to. So it is an advantage to be harnessed like a raw diamond needs to be cut.
Thank you so much for the explanation. You already mentioned that highly sensitive people are great leaders. Are there any other roles they love to take and enjoy doing?
Yes, as technically all things that have to do with people, with service. Those are jobs that are amazing for highly sensitive people where they get to connect with the customer, to listen to their needs, to go beyond what the person is saying, but feel into what is really being meant behind the words or between the words, So this is something that highly sensitive people are great at. Also, everything that has to do with organization, processes, building up processes, leading projects. That's awesome. Yeah. As well as everything that has to do with detail orientation. or strategics. Yeah. What is not so amazing for highly sensitive people is when you put them in jobs where you count per hour how much has been done, things like that. Yeah. Where it's a little bit hectic, or where you have like, let's say, yeah, a lot of ego going on, where it's not about finding out and connecting with someone, but more like imposing control on something. Those are things where people don't thrive so much, But after all, the environmental contributions are very huge, the things that I just mentioned, like the office, the light, because there has been also body of research saying that consciousness is as well a thing that highly sensitive people react a lot upon, They sense the level of consciousness. Um, you are aware of the work of David Hawkins, Dr.
Yes.
David Hawkins. Yeah, so highly sensitive people tend to sense this kind of levels of consciousness, So this is something that makes a big impact on them, right? And also the values of the company they're working for and the team they're working in. Those are things that usually cannot be quantified that easily. Let's put it that way on a workplace, but highly sensitive people know it.
You mentioned something very important here, the scale of consciousness from Dr. David Hopkins. Can you explain to our audience what it is and how it works?
Okay. So this is a great thing. And you should, if you like what I'm saying at some stage, just go and look it up. Google it, download it as a picture and have it in your phone and just feel into how am I feeling right now? And then look into the scale. It will tell you different feelings and emotions. Yes, it will tell you what the world view is on that same scale. So basically the levels of consciousness go from 0 until 1,000. Yeah. So the lowest one is shame. Yes. And it's a 20. And it goes up, up, up until 700, 2,000, which is basically this I am state of enlightenment, right? So it is tool as everything else and an activation, a help to build up awareness and to heighten your consciousness about your frequency, the vibration that you are emitting. Why is this so important? This is so important because we all have heard about the law of attraction, right? That is actually the third law of the Hermetic laws. And this is called law of resonance, actually, which means that you actually attract what matches your vibration. So you need to look at the David Hawkins scale, see where you are vibrating at, and then you will know exactly what it is that you are calling into your experience right here, right now. So this is how I work with it technically. And it's very easy. Everybody can do it. It's so enlightening.
Everybody who has a chance to check Dr. David Hopkins' scale of consciousness, I would highly recommend that. Um, as Carolina mentioned, you attract what you feel, what you vibrate, not what you want. And that's why it's really, really important to become aware of your emotions, how you feel right now, and start working on that. And that brings me to my next question, because a lot of us, actually every single person on this planet, was shaped by their childhood. And especially highly sensitive people have very challenging childhood. Can we talk a little bit about that?
The thing is as follows, Nina. The research has also shown like what kind of sensitivity people grow into, let's put it that way, right? So when we have vulnerable sensitivity going on somewhere, we can look into the environment this person grew up in. the baseline. And then we will find a lot of low vibrational things according to the scale we just mentioned, right? So, and then we can also find people who have had other types of environments, like very nurturing environments, where people were able to speak openly, to be not only accepted, but loved for who they were, right? Those are the people who grew up to be vantage sensitive people usually, right? And then we have general sensitivity, which is a little bit of this, a little bit of that, mix and match, right? So the way that the world has been, let's say, going on so far a little bit has been more low vibrational, Well, at least from the history that we know, the recorded one, yeah? Because before that is another story, but whatever. So these times we know that there is a lot of stuff going on that, as I would say it, is not really made for human beings to thrive, right? There is a lot of ego going on where there is not even an awareness of what is the ego, where there is not an awareness so much about what is dysfunctionality, what is fragmentalization, how does it come to be, yes? What are shadows, or what is the subconscious telling me, yes? And that leads to the subconscious mind being the one who is directing and guiding the experience, thus creating the experience. And usually it comes from a place of, being of trauma, even of low vibrations, of not being good enough, of being too much of this and too less of that, And so at the end of the day, what we are doing right now as a collective is bringing that into our awareness and even into the mainstream, for everyone to have this information available to them, to be able to choose whether they want to do their inner work or not, right? There is no judgment there. Everybody can decide freely. The people who might seem to us in this lifetime very low vibrational, let's put it that way, maybe having another lifetime right here, right now. There is no time. That's another illusion. Yes. Maybe on another planet where they are fully and completely enlightened and the best leaders ever and all of that. So this is something that we need to bring also into our awareness, which brings me again to the topic of integration. Yes, because we all tend to know those kind of things, Yes, every experience is awesome. There is no judgment in the universe, trilaloo, right? But then something happens, a low vibrational experience comes up, and then it's like about pausing, going into the state of action, of creatorship, owning it, instead of going into this victimization state and reaction, and just being fully aware that this person might be an enlightened master somewhere right here, right now. And they have chosen in this lifetime right in front of you to have a low vibrational experience, to have a contrast, to just check in, see how it feels like. You know what I mean? And instead of judging them and labeling it as, oh my gosh, this is so bad or wrong or whatever, to say, wow, this really does not resonate with me. Ooh. Okay, what am I going to do about it? And then you can decide what are your movements forward.
Thank you so much for explaining that. I think it's very important here that we really clarify when you do your own healing work. It doesn't mean that you will never experience sadness, that you will never experience grief, anger. Like these things are coming up over and over again. It's life. The mastery with healing is knowing what to do when those feelings come up. and how you can help yourself get out of that state faster. Because it's going to happen over and over again, but you just need to have tools and resources to help yourself anytime you need it. And that's the mastery, managing both sides of you and really embracing the whole you, because all that pain, all that grief and sadness and anger that you experience shaped you to become a person who you are today. And also all these positive feelings, happiness, joy, whatever that is for you, they need to be also part of you, embraced fully to show who you are. And that's the beauty of healing. It really helps you love yourself as a whole and understand that nobody's perfect. We all have our own journey. We all have our upside downs. We all have moments when we cry, when we feel sad, when we feel angry. But the beautiful thing about doing healing is you will have tools to help yourself. You don't have to stay in that state forever. You can choose to stay 5 hours, 1 hour, 5 minutes, or how long you want. But the faster you can get out of there, the faster you can experience the beauty of life. And that's it. You have a choice to decide what you want to do. If you want to stay in that state of really grieving, feeling sad, there's nothing wrong with you. You can stay as long as you want, but there are tools to help you move faster through the process and feel better in a shorter period of time. That's what we are talking about. Which brings me also to my next question. In your work with clients, I know you did a lot of research, and you still do a lot of research about highly sensitive people and the workplace. I also want to know how you incorporate the spiritual side of you in your work, because you're also a healer, you're also very spiritual, how you use both to help your clients.
Thank you, Nina. That's a beautiful question. And I love this question so much. It's this kind of bridging science with spirituality kind of thing, right? And, the thing is that there is nothing to bridge. Everything is here right now, There is only one you. There is only one soul of you. So you are a soul that has chosen a human vessel to come and experience the amazing taste of a strawberry, how it feels like to touch your daughter's face, right? And how it feels like to feel the love for her every night before she goes to sleep, give her a good night kiss, and all of those things. Yes. So you are a soul making a human experience. And part of the human experience is also exploration in different types of ways, right? And one kind of way to experience yourself, to get to know yourself on deeper levels and layers, is science, through quantification, through measurements, right? But at the end of the day, it is just God experiencing itself, getting to know itself, and just having fun. So what I do is that I basically have these decades of not only the knowledge that I've acquired and the wisdom that came out of it. And I want to differentiate between both, because knowledge is information that you have understood, right? But wisdom is knowledge that you have put into action, that you have practiced on your daily life, and that you utilize with discernment, right? So, and besides, I have, for the most part of my life, since my childhood, I have had, like connection, with the other side of the veil, right? So seeing my guardian angels, I had an near-death experience as a child as well, downloads coming to me. And this kind of things have been part of my experience throughout my life, getting guidance through dreams, all of that. So what I basically did is I put all of that together because I was able to find the connections between the different topics for myself, Then I put it together And this is how I work with my clients. So basically, for example, one example is there are the predispositions in neurolinguistic programming, right? And um, those are things that are very valuable that can shape a mindset of, feeling joyful, right? So what I did is take those and enrich them with the other wisdom that I have gathered. So my first predisposition is that we are all one. We are all fractals of the all that is. We're all divine. There is no one that is worth more or less than anybody else. So this is my first predisposition and a way of living if you choose to live by it, And then there is what you said that I loved how you said it, having the toolkit. Yes, exactly. How are you going to build a chair you can sit on and be comfortable in without any tools? Well, you can try, but it will not work as well. It will eventually break, or you will be sitting on the floor at some stage. So it's about getting the toolkit and utilizing it with discernment, following your heart's guidance.
I love that. I really, really love how you explained it. I know so many people, of course, every single one of us has some patterns that we repeat over and over again. And sometimes we ask ourselves, like, why do I have this situation over and over again? Why do I have the same relationship issues over and over again? Why I have all these kind of things happening in my life over and over again? What would you say to those people and how they can break free from those patterns?
That's also a beautiful question because this comes up really a lot as well, It's like, what I tend to tell them is like, leave the name, scratch the name from your vocabulary for the next 10 minutes, right? So, and just put an X there. So now let's tell us what are the kind of behaviors this person is exhibiting. And let's put on the other side of the timetable the behaviors you are exhibiting. Yes? So, and let us see how beautiful both of those fit together to help you gain awareness about the belief systems that are triggering those behaviors on both sides, right? So this is typical inner child or shadow work, however you want to call it, and this is ties into the fragmentalization, So when we grow up in low vibrational environments, let's put it that way, we tend to experience acceptance instead of true unconditional love, which means that you are accepted in this construct, in this social construct, if you behave like A, B, C, D, right? If you behave like F, G, or whatever, you're not going to be accepted. Thus, you are too loud, you are too sensitive, you are too much of this, too less of that. Yes? So, and then inside of us, something starts to fragmentalize, to break. There are parts of us, for example, this joyful, quirky part that is very loud and making jokes all the time, can't be fragmentalized, and pushed away because this is not accepted by my environment and I need to be here. I need to live here. I need to survive here, right? I need these people to take care of me, right? And to like me. So we tend to fragmentalize that and push that away, right? And instead we put whatever reaction it is that we usually exhibit, So that is how that technically comes to be. So what I tend to say is that look into what happens in one situation, and it has happened before with another person whose name was different. And that's why we say X, and it's the same thing, different color, right? So what could it be? That a person tends to go away and shut down when things get too intense emotionally. Because maybe they weren't taught how to connect with their own feelings. They don't know they have an emotional body. right? So, and when somebody gets too close, they tend to get the alarm on because closeness means that you let somebody in and that this person may even hurt you, for example, right? So, and then you tend to go into this feeling of there is another person and there is me, right? So then you are separating yourself basically from this other person, right? So, and that's separation consciousness, the opposite of unity consciousness, right? So just be aware of that, right? So, and that's how they learned to cope in the environment they grew up in. And on the other side, we may have a person who loves to connect on the deepest levels ever. They love to speak about their emotional feelings, about their emotions, feelings, about their experience, and they expand on it, and they thrive talking about it, like a highly sensitive person, you know? And then you see how this beautiful connects, It connects beautifully. So this person, one person is being invited to let somebody in, to go out of the separation consciousness, to go into oneness consciousness, because unconditional love means basically that you are taking the person who is in front of you as a part of you. Yes, that you could never, ever, ever do anything to that person or with that person that would harm them in the slightest way, right? Because you unconditionally love them, which also means that no matter what they do, you will keep on loving them. Yes, if their behavior is not so cool and it persists and persists and persists, you may choose to say, I wish you the best, toodaloo, at some stage. But it doesn't mean that you don't love them anymore. You know what I mean? You can love from afar. You don't have to love the personality as well. But at the end of the day, there are invitations and there is information to be collected. So what is the information behind this that's going on? What's the invitation? And what is the belief system? What is the little child telling you? How did it get hurt when it was small? And let's uncover that and give this little child all the love that we can, embrace him, give him unconditional love, and just tell them, it was a very, let's say, sucked up situation. Yes. And I totally see you because this part wants to be seen. It wants to be heard and it wants to be loved. You do this work and then you get this part integrated. And then you no longer need to be in this reactive kind of behavioral pattern, repeat anymore. You can pause and see, the pattern is showing up. This is an invitation for me to elevate upon this. Okay, how do we do this? Let me think about that. Let me sit on it. When I say sit on it, I mean meditate on that, right? Because the answer is inside of you and it will come up if you ask. And then you can break free.
Thank you so much for this beautiful explanation. You also talk about how to integrate feminine and masculine side of you. Can we also talk a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, thank you. So this is amazing. This is like this topic of balance, overall, which can be really fun. I've spent really a lot of time, many, many years, um, sitting on it and, trying things out, because everything is trial and error with me. I love it. So the thing is as follows, and I'll work here with archetypes. This is also something I love doing. So we have, for example, the archetype of the Empress, in the tarot. This is something that most people tend to know, right? So, and then we have the Emperor on the other side. So we have the divine feminine and the divine masculine. So what is this about? The divine feminine is the mother, the nurturer, the love giver, this person who, when you get hurt, you run towards to and you ask them to give you comfort, right? This is the artist. This is the person who gets ideas out of the ether just like that, and explodes through creativity and expression, right? So this is this archetype. And then we have on the other side more the structured organizational leader, this person who is very assertive, this person who knows, who guides, who leads, and then you need to put both of them together. Yeah. Let's say an example, you want to make a piece of art, right? And you just sit and then you get this picture in your head. Yes. You might even channel exactly how it's going to look like at the end, right? Like you did with your book cover, right? So you know exactly what's it gonna be. And you are like all excited and you already get the colors in your mind and how to mix them and all of this kind of stuff. And you're already in this flow of creativity, right? So, but you cannot start by putting the butterflies first, right? That's not going to work and it's not going to look at the end the way you want it to look, right? So you need to know, okay, so the background is green and blue, and I'm putting this ethereal type of vibe with stars and sprinkles and sparkles. So you need to use the other side and use the other side, basically the emperor, and structure it. Okay, so I will start by mixing the blue with the green, and I'm going to do it with this tool. Yes, instead of with this pencil. And then, this is how it works together, basically, in a very, rudimentary example.
Basically, we all have both of them. We
Thank you.
just
Yes,
tend to use one more than other, but we need to learn how to integrate both of them.
exactly. And that's really a masterpiece, what you just said. It's the recognition we all have both energies within us, because this is we're talking about energy. Everything is energy. So the feminine and the masculine are both energies, So, and then we need to utilize the high vibrational version of it, the divine feminine and divine masculine, instead to drop into the low vibrational ones. Exactly.
You already mentioned this during our interview, but I want to go a little bit deeper. You said you are me from another point of view. What does it really mean, and how would you really explain it to people?
So there is the mirroring effect and there is perception as projection. And this is something that Freud and Carl Jung have talked about a lot as well. Yes, this is really a thing that has been known for many, many years and needs to be integrated. So you don't see the world the way it is, you see the world the way you are. That's the main topic, right? So, and everything is information informing you about something. And it is on you to receive the information if you choose to, and to work with it if you choose to, or not, right? So what I perceive is a mirror of myself. So then ask yourself, what are you perceiving and how are you perceiving it? How is this shaping your experience? And all of it goes back to your mindset and your subconscious mind, your belief system, right? So you, Nina, are me from another point of view. You have had experiences that I have not had. I have experiences you haven't had either as well. And when we meet, this is us expanding further, embracing this other me from another point of view, where I speak from my experience, from my truth, from my heart. You do the same as well. And we have this amazing fireworks going on where you tell me about all those things that went on in your life that were low vibrational and how that empowered you to be this amazing you that you are today, right? And I tell you the same. And we're both just admiring each other and seeing each other's light shine brighter and brighter, and inviting those who are listening to shine their light as bright as they can as well, you know, if they choose to expand and transform, right? So you are me from another point of view. And, you know, if what you are experiencing is more of a low vibrational kind of stuff, you know what I mean? So this might be still a mirror. Maybe this is still mirroring something inside of you that you haven't really seen, that you haven't really worked on, that you haven't really done something about. Let's put it that way. Yes. But on the other hand, if you have already done some work of it and you are like, okay, but this is my value of, let's say, integrity, you know? Am I being integer? Am I behaving that way? How am I not behaving that way? Okay, pipapo, right? Then it goes another layer there. Am I still judging this behavior maybe? Am I not understanding this other me from another point of view? Am I negating that this experience is valid for somebody else who chooses to have this experience? Yes? So it's all information. Everything is informing you, helping you to grow and evolve if you choose to see it that way and if you choose to engage with it.
Yes, I love that explanation. We are just oneness, seeing things from different perspective, from our own life experiences. And that's the reason why I'm hosting this event. We are oneness in Vienna in 2027. I'm so excited about that because, as you mentioned, we are all oneness, just having different experiences. Everybody who's listening or watching, if you want to join us for the event, there will be a link in the description below. You can join the wait list now. Carolina, I want to talk a little bit about highly sensitive people before we wrap up this interview. What do you believe is the role of highly sensitive people in this awakening process?
Well, in a world that has been very desensitized, where people have been told a lot to not listen to their heart, but to listen to their brain, where we have normalized behaviors that are low vibrational and life negating, and where judgment has been put in a, let's say, very high light. Highly sensitive people come, even, you know, they come out of those environments and they rise above it. Because technically, what you were also saying earlier was that you will still or might still feel low vibrational energies going on inside of you, like anger. But it's about how you engage with it. So you see anger coming up and you ask, what's the information behind it? Oh, a boundary has been crossed. Nice information. Okay, so how did I contribute to that boundary being crossed? What is my part in it? Well, I could have just gone away and I just chose to stay where I was. So this is the information. And now you know what's going on. And then you can choose, how are you going to behave from now on? What is your action that you're going to take upon it, right? So highly sensitive people are here. We are here to say, hey, this is not working. This is nuts. This is life negating. This is dysfunctional. This is not loving, not compassionate. And we choose empathy. We choose love. We choose compassion. We choose connection. And we choose to be one, you know? And there is also something that the Dalai Lama said. He said, the problems that humanity has arise from this feeling of there is them, there is us, there is me, there is you. If we chose to see each other's as one people, we wouldn't be so harmful as behaving harmfully towards each other anymore. So the role that highly sensitive people have right now is to shape the new earth. We are shaping, co-creating the new earth right here, right now, with every choice we make, every single now moment of our lives. We choose how we engage with people. We choose how we go out into the world. Yes? And it can really be just the way that you go to the supermarket and say hello to everyone who works there because you have seen them every day since I don't know when you lived there, right? And you say, hello, good morning, how are you guys? I see you, right? Attention equals love. Some people just want to be seen, to be heard, acknowledged. And just by doing that, you are already changing the world. When you say hello or smile to somebody, walk passing you, that is already how we're co-creating this new earth, right? But to be able to do so, you need to be in this state of mind, in this state of love, yes? So that you are able to go out to the street and say, hello, everyone. I'm here. I love being here. I hope you love being here because I love you and I love you are here as well, you know? So this is what highly sensitive people, what we came here to do. But there is something I want to add, and it is not about basically making the highly sensitive person a whole new personality that you can engage into, right? You know? So it's about, as I already said, taking the information, understanding it, and utilizing it, right? So this is just a framework that is giving us studies, informations, numbers on this topic, right? For me, it was important to find out about it and to dig deeper into it because I didn't want to accept I was this sensitive. At some stage in my life, there was this fragmentalization going on with me, right? So for me, it was this kind of, oh my gosh, there are a lot of studies about this trait. I'm not like weird or anything, you know? This is totally like, you see it on paper, there are numbers. So it's a thing, right? So that I can get to know and understand myself better on deeper levels. But it is not about bringing it all the way to building a personality where I'm highly sensitive and therefore blah, 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 whatever, you know? Because, you know, we're moving from vulnerable sensitivity to vantage sensitivity where you don't need to control other people's behaviors, the places, the situations, you know, or anything like that. You know, you just choose wisely what you engage into, right? If something resonates, you engage more into that. If something doesn't resonate, you give thanks for the information provided and the validation that this is really not a vibrational frequency you want to be into. And you send love and light and go your way, you know?
Carolina, you mentioned something here very, very important. I think we need to highlight this, explain that we should not use this label of highly sensitive people to use it as a victim and play victim in our life. It's just an information. Yes, we are maybe a little bit different than anybody else, but we are all oneness. And please do not use that as an excuse for not living your best life and not being like using it as excuse to stay a victim in your life. That's the most important thing because healing is possible. It's possible for you. It's possible for everyone if they take action and choose to do something. Thank you, Carolina, for this beautiful interview today. For everybody who is listening this interview, who want to connect with you, how they can find you.
Thank you, Nina. So people can find me on my website, www.new-earth-awakening.com. I also have a YouTube channel where they can scroll and see with tools, and engage also with the scientific research on deeper levels if they want to. They can have call with me, to check out if we are a vibrational match, if we click together and we want to work together, so that everybody who chooses to can live a life full of joy and in accordance to their values.
Thank you, Carolina, so much for this beautiful interview. Everybody who is listening or watching this interview, if this interview inspired you, moved you, touched you, please share with your friends and family members, because we heal together, not alone. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for the work you do. Until next time, be brave, shine your light, because the world needs that love and light inside of you more than ever. I'm sending you lots of love and big hug. Bye for now.